And we're live. All right. Welcome, everybody, to Blockchain Professionals, June 2021. Yes, we are back in lockdown in Sydney, and I just heard in Perth as well. Yes. So I think it's very auspicious that this was already an online meetup and we didn't have to hurry to make this into a online because we couldn't meet RL, but here we go. Uh, for all the OGs out there, thanks for your continued support. If you're new to Blockchain Professionals, welcome. I'm Adriana Bellotti. Been doing meetups about blockchain for 8 years now. It's been a very cool journey so far. And tonight we're talking about superannuation. We're going to have 3 presentations. 2 of them are going to be about tools that we can use to buy crypto for our super, and they are going to be from Independent Reserve and Bamboo. And then at the end, we're going to talk to Sam from Sequoia, which is a company that set up and helps people manage their SMSFs. So we are going to kick off, but before we do that, I just would like to thank the good folks at Edge Wallet for their continued support to this meetup. We love your app, and thank you so much. All right, let's get on with our first presentation. We have Lee Eaton from Independent Reserve. Lee will talk about the SMSF landscape in crypto and explore some of the considerations that people should take before they invest, and talk us through the IR offering in the SMSF space. Over to you, Lee.
Well, thank you for having me along to speak with you today on behalf of Independent Reserve, Australia's oldest and most trusted exchange. It's really good to get the chance to speak about how we are supporting SMSFs gain access to this new and emerging asset class of digital currencies. And I think it's probably worthwhile mentioning that the over 50s cohort has been one of the fastest growing segments in the market. And unsurprisingly, they're choosing to use SMSFs to access their crypto. Far be it from the old days of the traditional view of the investor being a young, tech-savvy IT worker. It's now certainly getting a little bit older, so which is good to see. And we're here to try and make that journey for them, because there are some additional, I guess, some additional support services that we can add for them. Okay, so a little bit about Independent Reserve, who we are and where we came from. I think the story about how we started is really useful because it sort of frames a lot of the ethos that has been continues to shape the firm. So we were established in 2013, but prior to that, the reason we started was that our founders decided in 2012 they were going to buy some Bitcoin. Now, back in those days, the only way that they could actually access Bitcoin was through the now infamous Mt. Gox. And the whole process was really quite slow and laborious. It took them, after they submitted their ID documents, it took them well over a month for their IDs to be verified. They had to set up multiple accounts and pay huge currency conversion fees to get the money into the exchange, all the while the actual exchanges themselves, the actual website itself continually went down. So after this experience, they decided there just had to be an easier way to buy and sell and securely hold crypto assets. And from that experience, Independent Reserve was born. And the idea of making life really easy, given an Australian experience to easily buying, holding, and selling crypto is what we've been about. So in that 8 years since we were established, we've come a long way. So we now service around 200,000 users, 200,000 users plus, of which 8,000 are actually SMSF trustees. So that size and that scale means that when you're dealing with Independent Reserve, not only are you dealing with one of the largest exchanges in Australia, certainly one of the larger exchanges around the world. And that size and that scale means that we've got great liquidity and depth with our markets for all our users. One of the first questions that we get when we're speaking with prospective users, SMSF users and other users, is about security. Anyone who's picked up a paper knows that there's certainly there's no shortage of stories about there being security issues with crypto exchanges. So knowing that security is absolutely a non-negotiable and something that we need to make sure that is fail-proof, we're really happy to say that we were the first crypto exchange in Australia to bring insurance products out. So I think that provides a lot of security for people who, when they're looking at exchanges, to know that we've had an insurer look at our cold storage solution, our safekeeping, looked at our processes and said, hey, this is actually a really robust process. We're happy to provide insurance to users of Independent Reserve, and that should give people a lot of comfort of just the rigor that we've put into that security measures. So now I really want to talk about just a little bit about the onboarding process for an SMSF trustee. It's a little bit different to what you'd find with an individual account, but still we want to make that as easy as possible. So for us, it's an easy 3-step process to establish an account with Independent Reserve. For those of you who may not already know, I guess one of the key regulations for all crypto exchanges is, I guess one of the key, the regulatory body that governs most crypto exchanges is AUSTRAC. So the key thing for us whenever we're onboarding a new entity, which an SMSF is its own entity, is verification of who those ultimate beneficial owners are. So for us, because we have a 24-hour, support team and verifications team, provided we can get to the right documentation, we can onboard customers sometimes even same day, but generally very quickly. So with an SMSF, much like individual trustees, we always need to ID the individuals who are controlling that trust. So in the case of an SMSF, that's usually the trustees, or in the case of a corporate trustee, it would be the directors of that corporate trustee. So through our secure online website, which generally takes 5-10 minutes, and if you've got the right documentation, it shouldn't take you much longer than that. We simply ask for ID of those trustees, of those directors, plus the confirmation of the trustee, as well as the confirmation of who those trustees are. And sometimes if you've got the corporate trustee, then we also ask for an ASIC extract to provide so we can get confirmation. Like I said, if we have all that information, generally that whole process from uploading and getting it, certainly from an uploading point of view, shouldn't take you much more than 20 to 30 minutes. And then verification, like I said, because we've got that 24-hour team, can generally be done very quickly. Okay, so moving along to some of the products and features that we have available that are particularly relevant to SMSF trustees. Now, the key features that I'm hoping to talk about today are going to be our order book and our OTC desk. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about the lengths that we've gone to make sure all the assets that we hold on exchange are secure, including how our insurance option works. And then I also want to talk about some of the features that we have that are available to all our users, but I think are particularly useful for SMSF trustees. So with an order book, I think it's really important to just highlight just how transparent our order book can be. So for all users through Independent Reserve, when they log on, they can see the full depth of our market. And that's always in live pricing action. So you can see all the buys and you can see all the sells. Now, importantly, our exchange through our API keys and our web sockets means that we've got various high frequency traders and market makers and who are also plugged in to other exchanges around the world. And what that means is that the volume and that frequency and the pricing that you can get because of that, you can see, is very much a globally competitive price. Because any sort of differences are quickly arbitraged out, which is great. It means that you're getting the fairest price possible. Now, the reason that I want to keep hammering on just why that order book is so useful, because there are a lot of exchanges out there that will say they're exchanges, but they're not a genuine exchange where they run an order book with the buying and selling from their clients. They can, in some cases, be a white labeled exchange, which means they're kind of buying and selling to you directly, and then they might use an external exchange to then back end their sales out. So that takes away a lot of that transparency. So I think whenever you're choosing an exchange, the key thing to look at is just how transparent and fluid that market, that order book is. Now, quickly, we also have an OTC service, which I think is a really good way for a lot of SMSF trustees to get access, particularly if they want some additional support accessing crypto for the first time. So we're definitely seeing in the SMSF market some larger first-time buyers as people are buying and storing for a long term now through our OTC service, which, you know, for example, if people want to buy orders in excess of 100,000, they can use our OTC service, and we can provide an all-inclusive quote for them without any slippage. So when you're going through the order book, on some days, if you're trying to execute large orders, you might eat through a few of the orders, whereas the OTC service, we can certainly give you an all-inclusive price, but also it means we can help manage that first transaction as well. Now, moving along to the cold storage that we have in place, like I said earlier, without doubt, the biggest question that we get is how secure are you, and what processes and what sort of systems do you have in place to ensure that anything that's held on exchange is secure. And while Bitcoin was certainly, and crypto was certainly built to be your own bank, I think in a lot of cases there might not be necessarily the technical expertise to run accounts yourself. So that might be through having a nano ledger or a Trezor wallet or something like that, where you have to cold custody it, cold storage it yourself. So the way it works with us is we keep the vast majority of our assets off the hot wallet, which means off the out of the exchange and in cold storage. I mentioned there 95%, but it's often much more in excess of that as well. So nothing has certainly ever happened to our exchange, but if it ever did, only a very small proportion of our assets are actually ever online anyway, and the rest is kept in an commercial industrial grade vaulting solution. So it's a professionally managed vault with multiple levels of access. In fact, we think it's a sort of, it should be at least an industry standard to have that extra level of security in place. Now, importantly, I think that when you're looking at things like insurance, so with Independent Reserve, we have multiple, grades of insurance, everything through from a starter package all the way through to, I guess we call it a gold, that goes from bronze, gold, bronze, silver, gold onto a diamond. So multiple levels of insurance that are available for anyone who's custodying through us. Now, for someone to actually get that insurance in place, you need to have that level of rigor in place with cold storage, which is something that we have. And I think that provides a lot of people with a lot of comfort. And so then finally, I quickly want to touch on some of the features that we have through our website. And I think these are very useful, again, for SMSF trustees. So we have an auto trader function. Now, the auto trader function effectively allows all our users to dollar cost average. So we all know that cryptocurrencies are a very volatile asset, and picking the highs and lows can be very tricky. And to take a lot of that guesswork out, simply having a simple dollar cost averaging strategy where it might be set up monthly or weekly or 6 monthly, or however you wish to do it, we have got that function there for our SMSF and SMSF trustees, so they can continually contribute to their fund and continually have the position added to for the long term. So so moving on. So in order to provide sort of additional levels of support, we're very much focused on building integration with existing service providers. Now, I've got my own SMSF, and I know just how much paperwork there can be, particularly when you've got a siloed, kind of a silo approach to data sharing. You may have your trading accounts over here, and your bank accounts over here, and your crypto exchange over here. So just help overcome that, I guess we're partnering with a number of groups. And also as well, you might be dealing with your accountant as well. So the bigger partnership I think is going to be useful for people is our relationship with KPMG that does provide a very effective tax reporting service. So available at the end of each year, when you need to stump up what you've done to your accountant, you can log on, download our KPMG report, and that provides a simple tax summary of everything that's occurred throughout the year that you can then just hand over simply to your accountant to have your accounts finalised for the end of the year. But also important is that is the way we can share data. So we've we've built integration with people like BGL, for example, who provide a lot of SMSF and accounting software, which means that our account information, particularly pricing information, can flow through to them directly and then can be used, downloaded directly when the software is being, when the accounts are being completed at the end of the year. A lot of existing accountants will use that information to help them complete their accounts. Likewise, we've got a lot of information flowing through with Iris. So a lot of SMSF users will also be working with an advisor, and it's important that their advisor can have some information about what's going on in their portfolio as well to provide that an oversight. And so through these partnerships, BGL and Iris, we can share that information about account holdings, so that everyone from your accountant, your advisor, are all in the loop. And we think that's really useful because, as I said before, it helps very much overcome what you can find with SMSFs is a siloing of information when really you want to kind of keep it all together. All right, so just looking at time, I realise I've probably used up close to my full allocation. So I just want to quickly summarise, I guess, a little bit about independent reserve and about how we're going about helping SMSF trustees. And like I said in that initial story, what we're still focused on doing is to make the experience as easy to use as possible and as secure as possible. And the way we do that is through exactly through the ways I've mentioned before, by providing a really detailed security protocol for custody, providing customers the access to insurance products to, again, provide that extra layer of insurance, providing depth and liquidity and fair pricing through our order book, and then also building on partnerships, which I mentioned before, through the likes of KPMG and BGL and Iris, that allow information to share, to flow more seamlessly. So that's a quick summary about how we're trying to do our best to help this sort of fast-growing market, and would love to hear from anyone who's interested in finding out more. Certainly on our website, we have a dedicated team that can help with all SMSF-related inquiries. So that's on our website as well. Okay, I'll stop sharing there. Thank you very much, Adriana.
Thank you, Lee. We haven't had any questions come through on the chat just yet. That was very good. So let's give it up to Blake, and then we circle back at the end if any questions come through for Aya. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, if you unshare your screen, let's bring Blake back. Blake, can you share your screen? Yep. Here you go. So Blake Cassidy is the CEO from Bamboo. He's zooming in from Perth. He will discuss why Bamboo built an SMSF product and provide a product overview touching on investment strategies such as DCA, like we just saw with Aya, that you can do the same through Bamboo. Yay. All right, take it away.
Thanks, Adriana. Yeah, it's great to be here and chat with everyone today about putting crypto into their self-managed super fund. So I'm just going to cover off on potentially why digital currencies are a good option for people to put into their self-managed super fund, for those that are a little bit curious or still looking to make their first purchase. And then I'm going to touch on what Bamboo is and how we differ from other solutions in the marketplace, and also some investment strategies like dollar cost averaging, which is a bit of jargon that we sometimes use. And we will also touch on data and privacy and reporting. First of all, the question that many people might ask is, why would you want to put digital currencies into your self-managed super fund? And one of the key reasons is because of inflation. Now, what we've seen over the last 50 years or even longer is that the value of our currency is going down. And this has been particularly prominent over the last couple of years because there's been so much money printing by our governments. And what this does is it doesn't encourage people to save. It encourages people to deploy their savings or capital to buy assets, so they're not susceptible to the value of their savings going down. And governments are using this as a mechanism to prop up their economies. which is sometimes a good thing, like we've seen during COVID, but also it can be a bad thing for those people that are trying to save money. And I think last year alone, 23% of all US dollars were printed, which isn't good for people's savings. So what we're starting to see is not just individuals, but companies starting to move capital out of cash reserves and into finite asset classes, including Bitcoin, which is starting to be seen as a bit of a safe haven against this economic situation. And Bitcoin is a finite asset, which is very different to currency. Now, currency, they can print as much as they like, whereas Bitcoin, there's only 21 million coins. And that means it's a deflationary asset. There's only a certain amount of them, and it encourages people to save. And this is why it's attracting a lot of attention over the last couple of years, and capital moving across from the traditional financial sector into digital currency. And that's kind of the pretense of why we built the Bamboo app, to make it really easy for people to do this. Now, Bamboo is a micro savings and micro investment platform that allows anyone to easily invest into digital currencies. And we're really trying to differentiate ourselves in the market by not being an exchange. We function more as a savings app. So you can't remove your crypto from our platform. It's mainly used as a savings mechanism, and we've designed it to be really safe and secure, and something that anyone can use. And we built Bamboo because it can be overwhelming when buying digital currencies. Now, we all started off at a point in time when we could see there was dozens or hundreds of exchanges, there was thousands of digital currencies and all sorts of processes to navigate, and which made it time consuming, and it gave it a steep learning curve. And it can be complicated. Like the first time I was trying to use a hardware wallet, it was pretty scary. I thought, I might stuff it up. And the mistakes can be really costly, particularly when you're dealing with your retirement funds. So we've designed out all these issues and really focused on removing the complexity to make it easy for people to invest into their self-managed super fund with digital currencies. And the way that the app, we've designed it so people can get started in 90 seconds. Now, the process of signing up with an exchange can often be really good, but it can also take a long time. There's a process of you're uploading all sorts of documents that you may not have on hand. There's a verification process that can take days or weeks. And then, ordering your Trezor can also take weeks to store your digital currencies. But with the Bamboo app, we've made it so you can get started in 90 seconds. And all you need is your fund name, your trustee name, and your bank account and BSB number. And you don't need any paperwork. So we've removed that whole process. And the way that the app functions is either through top-ups, we allow people to invest up to $20,000 a day into a customized portfolio of digital currencies. This gives people instant access to the marketplace. Otherwise, we allow for regular contributions. In the same way that we contribute to our super every month, you can set up a recurring payment on the last day of the month. So you can contribute to the market and invest into digital currencies at regular intervals. And we're just about to release a feature that we're really excited about, and it will allow people to gain a yield on their portfolio in much of the same way as having a high interest savings account. We're going to allow people to earn interest on their Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then this gives people the ability to compound their returns over a period of time, and we'll be one of the first here in Australia to market with this product. I'm so pretty excited by that. And the whole premise of the Bamboo app is to facilitate something that we call dollar cost averaging, which basically means we help people average into the market. Now, with our superannuation, we buy small increments of equities or whatever our portfolio is allocated to every month, or at every period. And in this process, we don't really notice the volatility in the market. And it's because we're buying small amounts over a long period of time, and that mitigates many of the effects of volatility. And just to give you a bit of an example how this works, say Adriana bought a Bitcoin here for $10, and then in July, it went down 20%. And then by the end of the year, it's back up at $10. It means her portfolio would be even. But if you brought, say, $2.50 in March and $2.50 at every interval, by the end of the year, you would be 10% up. And it's because the strategy has mitigated the effects of a volatile market. And statistically, it's one of the safest ways to invest. So we've designed the app around this ethos to make it really safe and secure for people to enter what can be seen as a volatile asset class. Now, people often talk about security and how we manage data. And from a custody point of view, we don't hold the cryptocurrency. We rely upon an international custodian called Fireblocks. And Fireblocks are thought of as an industry leader, and they hold about $80 billion in crypto. And they're building the custody solutions for many of the banks in the US and elsewhere that are starting to hold cryptocurrencies for their clients. And we also use an Australian payment processor to transfer money from your account to ours to then buy those assets on your behalf. And Split Payments is a reputable payment processor here in Australia. And as Lee touched on, reporting is really important. And a lot of people often set up their self-managed or their accounts to buy digital currencies with the wrong name. So we make sure when you're setting up your account with Bamboo, it's very simple and very clear what you need to put in. And then at the end of every year, we distribute valuations and statements showing your purchases and disposals. And we work with a group called Crypto Kate, who is a specialist crypto accountancy firm. We distribute them at the end of every financial year to make the job easy for your auditor or your accountant who's looking at your super fund. Yeah, so we also work, I might just quickly say that we also work with Sam from Sequoia to help people set up self-managed super funds if they don't already have one set up. And Sam's a great partner of ours, and looking forward to also seeing his presentation. But if you want any more information about our product, please check out our website at getbamboo.io, or feel free to email us at hello@getbamboo. So thanks so much, Adriana.
Thank you, Blake. I've got a question. So can people only buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and precious metals through Bamboo? No regular stocks or anything like that?
No, exactly right. We try to keep it simple as possible. And we keep our, we restrict how many assets that we have available on the platform to just really those ones that are probably least volatile out of all the cryptos. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. I also have a question for Lee. And I know the answer to that question, but Lee, this one is for you. Does Independent Reserve have a mobile app?
Great question. Yes. The short answer is it's very, very close to being released. It's definitely in production. The team have been working on it around the clock to try and get that into place. So I would like to say it is available right now, but watch this space. It's going to be available very soon.
Awesome. Thank you. I also have a question for Blake. Farouk asks, as Bamboo is not an exchange, but does it offer some basic features on mobile app as exchanges do, for example, price alerts, etc.?
We don't have price alerts. No, we don't. We've really tried to take away order books. We've tried to take away charts. So then people can just come on and it's like a buy now feature or a sell now feature. And we've really tried to strip it back and make it as simple as possible.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, I don't see any other questions coming through the live stream. I think it's time to say goodbye. Thank you all so much for being here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Stay inside, stay safe.
Will do.
Okay.
See you later.
I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next meetup. Bye.